At Vince McMahon, that's how you book women's tag team wrestling. Play the thing. Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, and I'm here to review the 4th of May edition of NXT. And my God, what a packed show it was! Constant, non-stop. My only issue was I think there was too much in the show, just non-stop from the word go. Just loads and loads of talent on the show, unbelievable. But let's get into it. Yeah, this show is packed from minute 1 to minute end. It is just non-stop. The show starts off with Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Leon Ruff in their Falls Count Anywhere match. Really wish this hadn't been Falls Count Anywhere, because you've already had the street fight for the women's tag team titles later on in the night, and it was kind of the same thing. Starts off it early with an explosive knee, just literally Ruff just runs at Swerve. He just turns around, sticks the knee up and catches him straight in the face. Loads of good moves, big superplex off the top, Poison Rana from Ruff on the apron to the outside. A couple of niggly points, come back from the commercial break, and commentary have said that they ventured into the locker room and backstage, and it's like, well, it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, and one of the highlights is they've gone out the back and not seen it. It's pretty stupid, really. Match ends with Leon Ruff trying to hit a crossbody off the top with a hard canvas, and he ended up being caught by AJ Francis, one of Swerve Scott's entourage. He then drops him onto the barricade. Swerve Scott then throws him into the ring, hits him with the JML, and he picks up the pinfall. And hopefully this rivalry is over now. It's a good match, but I'm done with seeing it, to be fair. We didn't get a short video of Finn Balor entering the CWC, nothing much, just to say a short vignette to say he's arrived. We then get our first way segment for the night. You have Johnny and Austin. They are trying to find Regal. They bust into the office, trying to confront Regal, but unfortunately at that point he's talking to Scarlett Bordeaux. Austin Theory then makes a sort of awkward comment about the size of something, and you think he's talking about Scarlett's yeah, you know what I'm talking about. He ends up, no, he's talking about her fingernails. Unfortunately, that ends up costing Austin Theory, because later on in the show it's announced that Scarlett Bordeaux has managed to get a match with Austin Theory and Karrion Kross for next week. I expect that match is going to be amazing. I reckon Austin Theory is going to sell just like he has been doing for weeks now. He's going to make Karrion Kross look $1 million next week. On to our second match of the night. Cameron Grimes, he's taking on Asher Hale. Just out of nowhere, this one. Didn't even know who the guy was. The reports for the trademark for his name were only released like 2 or 3 hours before. Guy's real name is Anthony Henry, former Evolve Tag Team Champion. He's 36 years old, I believe. A lot of people online saying, yeah, he's real good. So yeah, we end up with this debut match for Asher Hale. Yeah, it's a good match. Asher Hale manages to get some offense in on Grimes. He manages to hit this unique dragon whip into a guillotine while Grimes is leaned up against the ropes. Very good match, say short and sweet, just an introduction to who Asher Hale is. But yeah, let's move on. We then get a backstage segment with Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. They're just basically, they're done with Xia Li. They call her a weirdo, and they're all done with it. And it was like, you've been building for this for sort of weeks and months now. There's no explanation as to what happened the last time when Mei Ling blew smoke in your face and you just passed out, and yeah, just rivalry just killed off straight away like that. But yeah, they just say they're going to be focusing on the tag title match later on because they're coming for them. Frankie Monet interrupts. My God, when is she going to get a chance to actually wrestle, man, instead of just doing these backstage interruptions all the time? It's just a pointless segment, really. Could have done without it. This could have been one of the things that should have been actually cut from the show tonight. Another segment that could have been cut out, we had Cameron Grimes. He's backstage celebrating his victory. Everrise walk in, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for seeing Everrise on my TV, but this could have been cut out of the show. It was just a pointless segment because they're all about, Everrise were all about going off to celebrate, and Grimes is just like, no, I'm going to go celebrate by myself. I guess it kind of plays into the story later on, but again, I don't think you needed this in the show with the pacing, because it was so fast paced last night. It was just so hard to keep up with. We then get our first tag team match of the night. Grizzled Young Veterans taking on Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Good hard hitting match. James Drake's on the mic cutting a promo. He then hands it off to Gibson, who tries to cut a promo, but unfortunately that's interrupted by the Ciampa and Thatcher. Starting to look more like a package now, sort of color coordinated ring gear, coming out in matching jackets. The match is really good, really good. Like I said, this is actual a rivalry that I want to see going forward. Really good tag team action. Yeah, Grizzled Young Veterans have got to be one of the best heel tag teams, because the stuff they do is just old school heel work in tag team action, and it's really entertaining to watch, and I can't wait to see more of this. Ciampa manages to get a good hot tag where he starts doing that thing again where he's just running off the ropes constantly and doing some offense. It then manages to spill onto the outside, and you have Ciampa getting thrown out. He lands in the table, and somehow it ends up with Wade Barrett losing a shoe. As he proclaims on the commentary, that somehow it ends up with Thatcher using Wade Barrett's shoe on Gibson as a weapon, and then getting him in for an armbar tap out submission. And I'm like, this is the one niggly point to this, is why are they bringing up this whole take your shoe off if you hate Zach Gibson kind of thing? And it was like, what is this going to be their Achilles heel now? Is if anytime someone hits Gibson with a shoe? Yes, it was funny last week, but these are probably your top heel tag team in a minute, and you're kind of making them look weak. But the match otherwise is fine. It's really, really good. Go back and check that one out. I look forward to seeing more of this between the pair of them. It's really, really good stuff. We then get the Way trying to confront William Regal again backstage. They go to kick in the door, but it's one of them ones where he goes to kick it and just gently taps on the door. Regal's not even in there. He comes out. Johnny's basically trying to get his match with Bronson Reed cancelled. Regal just basically denies it, says no. This is when he announces that Karrion Kross is going to take on Austin Theory next week, and Austin isn't happy, and neither is Johnny, to be fair, and this plays out later on in the show. We then cut to Isaiah Swerve Scott backstage. He was just reaffirming what he was saying all along, that he said he was going to do what he was going to do. Again, this could have been cut out to save time, because I'm not being funny. This was a packed show, and I felt the main event could have done with some more time. We then get an announcement for Saraya and Zayda Ramir. They're going to be having a match later on tonight. This is after obviously both their debut wins. We then get a Karrion Kross in-ring promo. This is just hell broken loose. Kross comes out. It's a nothing promo really, just saying that I'm the top of the food chain kind of thing. But then you get Kyle O'Reilly come out. He then says that he wants to challenge Karrion Kross. Then Pete Dunne comes out and he says he wants to challenge Karrion Kross. Then Finn Balor comes out and he says, I've beaten Dunne. I've beaten O'Reilly twice. I want to challenge Karrion. Well, he doesn't even say, I'm challenging you. He just literally sucker punches Kross. This breaks out into a hell of a brawl. Security end up getting messed up a lot by it as well. This ends up with Kross standing tall in the middle of the ring. He's then jumped by Gargano and Theory. They've jumped him. They've taken him out with a bunch of super kicks. Fortunately, this doesn't change the events for next week. You're still going to get Austin Theory versus Karrion Kross. It comes back from commercial break. You've got Theory and Johnny Gargano. They're actually leaving the CWC. Mackenzie is interviewing them as they're trying to flee the CWC. She asks about what about Candice and Indy, because they still have their match to come later on the night. Johnny's like, no, it's fine. They don't need us. They can do without us. They'll be just fine, and they leave the CWC. We then get the Saraya versus Zayda Ramiro match. My God, Saraya needs to check herself with these drop kicks. I'm not being funny. They look lethal. She does that drop kick to Zayda as she's draped on that bottom rope again. My God, I'll tell you what, she's going to decapitate someone with these drop kicks. It just seems to be her number one offense. Yeah, man, like seriously dangerous looking stuff. I mean, she tries it a second time and kind of botches the landing. Yeah, I was actually terrified at one point with these drop kicks she was pulling off. Ends up with Saraya using the Saito suplex and picking up the pinfall. This cuts to a backstage segment afterwards where they're thanking each other. Toni Storm, who I thought would have interfered in the match to kind of sort of negate a victory for either of them. She tries to jump Zayda. Zoe Stark ends up interfering between the pair of them, and she stops that. We then get Imperium in the locker room. They're on a Zoom quiz call with Walter. Walter basically says that they're embarrassing and they need to focus. Again, it's all in a foreign language, German or whatever. Please, WWE, just give us subtitles. I'm not being funny. There was 2 or 3 tonight where they did this, and it was just, I can't understand a word you're saying. Don't know what the hell's coming across. It ends with Alexander Wolf leaving at the end, and Bartel and Eichner still giving Wolf this side eye. Again, this could have been cut from the show. I don't think there was the need to have it. It made no sense. And yeah, just pacing was everything was go. It was just non-stop all episode. We then get another Diamond Mine promo. This is looking more to be a faction. The fact that in this promo that there's a lot of we in the trailers, like we are this, we are that. Yeah, looking like it's going to be more of a faction. Commentary play a role in this later on. They even state that they say it's a faction. So who it's going to be, I have not got a clue. At this point, there must have been about half hour left of the show, and I thought, awesome, they're going to give this women's championship match a 30-minute run, and nope, because we still had another match to go. At this point, we then get Jake Atlas versus LA Knight, a very short and sweet match again. You probably could have done without this, to be fair. LA Knight comes out. He states that Atlas is going to need an Atlas to find his head once he punts it off down the road. Just again, very, very short. He ends up winning with that modified stunner that he has. Yeah, just it was like a 2-3 minute match that you probably could have done without, to be fair, to give the women more time at the end. We then get a slightly worrying scene because we have Candice and Indy in the women's locker room. Well, presumes the women's locker room. Candice is trying to get Indy focused on this tag team match. She ends up seeing that there's a cartoon image on a chair that's from Loomis to Indy. She hides it from her. Then in the back, there's a door that lights up and Loomis is standing behind it with some roses. Candice ends up going up to close the blinds to make sure that Indy can't see him. But if that's the women's locker room, why is Dexter Loomis creeping in the women's locker room? Like I said, very, very strange. I don't think that one was thought out too well, but still, we'll go on. We then get Toni Storm cutting it. This was a really good promo. Toni Storm cuts a promo on Zoe Stark, says that she made her and at any time she can take her out. Very short and sweet, but Toni Storm come across really well with this one. But again, just so much packed into this episode. At this point, there's like 15 minutes left of the show, and you think, right, now the match is going to start. No. We get Legado del Fantasma in ring for a promo. My God, it was like, I'm sitting there worrying and I'm like, man, this is going to be like a 4-minute match. I was like, you can't be telling me they're going to do this on NXT to the women, but they basically come out. They're saying that they want the Cruiserweight Championship. They say they want the tag team titles. Escobar challenges Kushida to another match for the Cruiserweight title. Kushida then cuts in and accepts it and challenges him next week. So that's going to be on next week's show. Kushida versus Escobar again for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. The other two then challenge MSK for the tag team titles. No answer on that one, but I presume that will be a match going forward as well. We then get another promo. Well, I say promo, we get another interview. It's Beth Phoenix this time sitting at the announcer's desk, and she's doing a side-by-side interview with Raquel Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez because of obviously their women's match coming up next week. Again, I still don't understand this heel dynamic with Cascano and Raquel Gonzalez. Is she heel? Is she not? Because she just comes across really strange in the stuff that she says. Very short promo. It's your typical one of them's the veteran that's paved the way. The other one's like, I've done more than you in a year, than you have in your entire career kind of stuff. It is a good promo, to be fair. It's just, again, eating into time that you could have put into this main event. We then cut backstage and you've got Shotzi and Ember. They're on the way to Shotzi's tank. Frankie's dog has been left unattended and apparently has taken a large number 2 inside the tank, to which Shotzi is shocked and outraged. They decide that they're going to go down to the ring without it. Again, could have been cut from the show. And then we get another video package. This time it's Cameron Grimes. He's out in the middle of Florida trying to celebrate his victory at the earlier in the night over at Asher Hell. He's trying to get into a club. He's trying to get into the VIP section. And they say, no, sorry, it's been bought out for the night. And then a big white limo rolls up and Ted DiBiase gets out and says, anything's got a price for the $1 Million Man. So much stuff packed in. And I was like, at this point, I think it must have been about 10 minutes left of the show. And I was like, oh my God, this match is going to just suck. It's going to be so short because of everything they packed into it. But then we get onto the main event and my God, this is women's tag team wrestling. Vince McMahon, take a look. I know you don't watch NXT. I know you don't care about NXT because you're just a fool, man. But go and watch this women's tag team match. This was my serious concern when this started because it was really sort of fast paced from the word go. And I thought they were seriously trying to rush through this match. Like instantly they jump out the ring and they're pulling out tables and chairs and bins and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, man, this match is absolutely amazing. So the introductions don't even get done. Ember and Shotzi just jump the two of them straight away. They jump out the ring. Shotzi's pulling out tables straight away. The next they manage to get a bin on top of Indy. They do stereo drop kicks to Indy while she's tied up in a bin. They then manage to hit a concerto on Candice with the bin lids. Indy then manages to construct some sort of table out of 4 chairs. Ember hits a face buster off the barricade onto Indy onto the chairs. They then stack up a 5th chair on top and have this weird pyramid of chairs going on the outside. Ember and Shotzi then try to team up to do a suicide dive through the ropes. Candice hits up the both of them with a fire extinguisher, like the spray from it. That negates it. We head to a commercial break. Why are you doing a commercial break with 3 or 4 minutes left of the show in the main event? This was so dumb. It was irritating because obviously In the American broadcast, it was a picture-in-picture commercial break. But in the UK, ain't no picture-in-picture. We go into legit commercial break, so we missed everything that happened in between. We come back, they're all laid out in the ring. At this point, there's been a ladder bridged from the barricade to the ring apron on the outside. Ember and Shotzi hit loads and loads and loads of tag team moves in this. It was, I say, great display by them too, just making them look like a solid tag team with the stuff they were doing. Just say all double team moves. Shotzi ends up hitting a senton off the top rope to Candice, who's laid out on that bridge ladder. My God, Candice she has the worst luck with these ladders, man, because this ladder doesn't even break. It sort of snaps one side and oh my God, it looked painful. Ember ends up putting Indy through a table that's been propped up in the corner of the ring. Shotzi is then on a ladder, which is bridged on the middle rope, but it's being held up on the other end by Indy. Candice then hits a moonsault off the second rope onto her, and man, that looked painful as anything. Indy then hits this massive spinebuster to Ember onto a ladder that's laid out flat. Man, that sounded painful. That sounded like that hurt. Shotzi manages to break more porcelain over Indy, this time by hitting her with a coffee cup. She lays her out on the announce table. She ends up climbing the scaffolding that's just to the side of the announcer's table. She then hits a crossbody splash off the like halfway up this scaffolding onto Indy, who's laid out on the announce table. Candice manages to get Ember laid out onto another table that's on the outside. At this point, Indy then recovers, gets into the ring. It's a springboard off the top rope to Ember, who's laid out on the table on the outside. While this is happening, Candice manages to hit, I believe it's called the Wicked Stepsister, which basically she holds the arms behind her back and sticks her foot on the back of her head and slams her into the mat. But this time there's a chair underneath. She does this, picks up the pinfall. Candice and Indy Hartwell are your new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. This match was fantastic. Luckily enough, this match actually had an 8-minute overrun from the normal broadcast time. But yeah, my God, this was fantastic. Go and check this match out, man. Don't go and watch the highlights. Go and watch the full match, because this is just non-stop from the word go. But my God, women's tag team wrestling done right. None of this 2 minutes and 1 seconds that we got on Monday Night Raw. Forget Raw when it comes to that stuff, man. NXT Women's Tag Team, that's what it's all about. Candice and Indy pick up their first NXT championships, first women's title, in WWE, and my God, just amazing. Announced during the show that next week you've got loads of matches coming up. You've got Kushida versus Santos Escobar in a 2 out of 3 falls match. You've got the women's title match, Raquel Gonzalez versus Mercedes Martinez. I presume we'll get a couple of others, man. But yeah, this is why NXT is my jam, man. I love this show, man. I just can't get enough of it. And so this is what my only issue, I say again, was the pacing, because it just felt like there was too much in this show, stuff that you could have cut out. I guess with Blood and Guts coming up this week for AEW, kind of made sense why they wanted to get more into it. You're on different nights now. Honestly, you don't need to worry about competing with them. I'm not being funny. AEW is probably going to beat Raw in the ratings this week. Yeah, just honestly, man, it just jam-packed full of stuff. And I say you probably could have just cut a few bits out of it. That's probably my only real critique from the show. But that's it, man. And that's it. That's your review for NXT for the 4th of May. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Let me know how you felt about that women's tag team match in the comments down below. Drop a subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.